Hello guys, it's Rhino and I'm here today to review this exotic two-player game featuring camels and spices and desert men from the Tuareg tribe known as Targi. And unlike what you'd expect in the Targi culture, it's the men that cover the faces, women don't wear any veils, which is a fun fact I could live without, but I wouldn't have known if I hadn't played this game. The English version of Targi was out of print for a while, so that's why I have the weird Greek version. It reads Tuareg if you're curious. So let's see what's behind this mysterious cover. In Targi, you are a leader of a Tuareg tribe and you trade dates, salt and pepper so that you can get gold and other benefits and enlarge your family. For the setup of the game, you make a rectangle by these edge cards that are the same for each game, and on the inside of them you have goods and tribal cards. Targi is basically a worker placement game, but with a twist. You have 3 workers and you can place them on any of the edge cards, excluding the corners, but you cannot place them on the card occupied by the robber or a worker of the other player, and also on the card opposite a worker of the other player. The 2 players alternate turns placing a worker, so if it was my turn to place one at this point in time, I would not be able to place it opposite the other player, as in here, or on the robber, so my options would begin to be limited. And most importantly, these workers, apart from giving you the action of the edge cards they occupy, they also give you the cards on the crossing point between your workers. So in this case, I would place my tribal marker on this one and receive these cards. This is a very clever mechanic, as every worker placement matters a lot more than what it actually gives you. It matters doubly for all the spots it denies from your opponent, and it also matters for the intersection with your other worker. The goods give you the corresponding goods tiles, creating your resources, and the tribal cards, after you pay the cost of them, you can place them in front of you in a display of 3 rows of 4 cards each. How you place them there matters, because this is a way to score extra victory points apart from the ones each card gives you. A row with the same type of tribal cards gives you extra 4 points, and a row with all different tribals gives you 2. Many tribal cards give the player a benefit during the game, single use or permanent, and some others have none, but usually give more victory points. If you cannot pay the cost of a tribal card, then you can keep it in your hand, but you can only keep 1. If you want to place it down later on or discard it, then you need to choose this action right here, the noble. The robber moves 1 space forward every turn, and when it reaches one of the corner cards, the raids, players have to get rid of one of these 2 valuable things. The game ends when the robber reaches the last raid card, or when one of the players completes his 3 rows, and the player with the most victory points wins. So there's different strategies you can follow. You could be going for the sets that give you extra points, or for the tribal cards that give you benefits, or the ones that give you lots of victory points on them, or you can collect lots of resources and exchange them for victory points. There is quite a bit of strategy involved, and the fact that each worker that you place affects more than one thing at once creates a very interesting dynamic between the 2 players. And I think this is what this game does best. It forces you in a way to engage with what your opponent is after, and your basic move gives you the chance to try to push them out of their planning, while at the same time trying to get what you want. And there's also this action here, the witch or enchantress, not sure what's the right translation, that allows you to change one of your tribal markers and place it on any of the other cards that's available. This is something you're going to use a lot in the game, and it will remain an unpredictable factor. There's also some planning ahead involved, as you need to be prepared for the raids that you know are coming, and so you need to manage your resources. So we've talked about the player interaction and the mechanics. They're pretty well done. I also love the theme, but I'm not so sure it comes out so much in the game. I was expecting a bit more thematic richness, more ties to the Targi culture, the matriarchy of it, but I guess this could have been a different game. Overall, I really enjoy this game, and I think it's perfect length for what I'm looking for in a 2-player game. Usually 2-player games are a bit too short, but Targi takes about an hour, so there's a bit more time to be more strategic and to feel that there's some game progression. It's definitely on my top 5 games for 2 players, and I think it's a very good idea to play on a date. This game would appeal to anyone who's looking for a good two-player experience, and it allows even for non-gamers to get into it and think strategically. So you might find yourself losing to a non-gamer. It can happen to anyone. Overall, I must admit I was already sold on the cover of it, but it turns out that the gameplay lived up to my expectations, so it's a game I totally recommend.